My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months now. Things have been normal for the most part, but lately it's started to change. I'll try to keep the explanation short. Last Friday, we went to a rap concert. I had never been to one before. We got there and it was okay and kind of fun while the openers played. My boyfriend insisted on moving closer to the front when the main act came out to be in the mosh pit. I was hesitant, but seeing as I am not the biggest rap fan and only came to the concert to be with him, I said okay to avoid being a buzzkill. We got to the center and I immediately started to feel sick to my stomach. The main act started performing and I was basically being thrown around by the crowd. I was wearing heels and kept tripping over my own feet. I was freaking out at this point, trying to hold on to my boyfriend. I was having a panic attack and begged him twice, "I need to get out of here." To which he would just respond, "You're fine, let go and have fun." But it was not fun. I kept trying to let go and have fun for him, but then we got separated. As soon as I saw his face disappear into the crowd, I turned around and hurried to the back of the room. I got myself water and went to the bathroom to regain my composure. I ended up making a friend in the bathroom, and we sat up against the back wall together. My boyfriend texted me once to make sure I wasn't hurt. I asked, "Are you going to come out at any point?" He said, "Maybe. If you need something, I will." And then literally 3 hours went by, and he never came out once. I spent the entire concert, which I only came to attend with my boyfriend, sitting up against the wall with a stranger I met in the bathroom. Obviously, this destroyed me. I felt so hurt. He had never done anything like that before. Sometimes he has had an attitude and we argue, but nothing has ever happened between us that felt so heavy like this. I never imagined he would do anything like this. I talked to him about it, and he was really apologetic and seemed remorseful about it, repeatedly saying that it would never happen again. But I am having a really hard time letting it go. I am so upset that it even happened in the first place. I thought that he cared about me more than that. I have tried to talk to him a couple more times after that, thinking that it would help me to clear my thoughts, but I usually end up feeling like I'm beating a dead horse and just making him feel bad. He already said he's sorry, and aside from some sort of grand gesture, I can't even think of anything he could say that would make me feel better. I really don't want to break up over this. I know people make mistakes, and he said it wouldn't happen again. But I feel like this has completely changed the way I see him and the way I feel when I'm around him. Is there a way I can get over this without needing to involve him? Is it just going to take time? What are some ways we can resolve this without having to break up? Now for an update. Hi all. Thanks so much for all the responses. I feel a lot better about all of this and feel like certain things have been put into perspective. Maybe no one cares, but I decided to give an update anyway, in case anyone was curious. First of all, I would like to call out the person that messaged me directly to inform me that I ruined my boyfriend's night by being a basket case and that he will probably break up with me. Thanks for the advice. Anyway, I have thought a lot about this. I think I realized by talking to all of you that I was more upset about being brushed off when asking for help out of the pit than I was about being left alone for a couple of hours. I think the latter was a communication issue and something that will definitely not happen again following the conversation I will have with my boyfriend. I feel now that I can see it from his perspective. While it definitely was not okay for him to ignore my needs like that, this is a good opportunity for growth and to get to know each other's needs and cues better. I am going to sit him down and walk him through my version of events, then hear his version of events, and hopefully we will be able to find where our expectations clashed with one another. I realize too that this will just take time to heal and for me to forgive because I had been holding on so tightly to the version of him that I created in my head, the one that wouldn't ignore me like that. And accepting that this happened and there is nothing I can do to change it is just a hard pill to swallow on its own. But my boyfriend has no malicious intent. He was just acting a little foolish, and I think I can forgive him. But obviously, moving forward, if nothing changes, I feel confident in kicking him to the curb. I am telling myself this is a good thing that this happened so that we can talk about it and fix the problem now instead of 6 more months down the road when we are deeper in it. Thanks again, and I hope I won't have to post again on here anytime soon. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You were in distress, directly communicated that you needed to leave, and he repeatedly dismissed you. That's not what I would want in a partner either. It doesn't matter whether or not strangers on the internet think he was right or wrong. What matters is that this has changed how you see him and whether or not you two are compatible. You're young, and this relationship is new. There doesn't need to be a huge dramatic justification for a breakup at this stage. If you're not feeling it anymore, that's enough. Comment 2. I don't know what these other comments are about. Leaving you alone at a concert is dangerous, and he's a jerk for that. You saying you need to get out of there is a very clear statement that he ignored twice. My friend's partner started having a panic attack at a concert they were both excited to see and spent a lot of money on, and they left immediately. He is immature. Dump him. Now, for the update. 3 days after the whole mosh pit mess, I told my boyfriend we needed to talk. We went to this diner near my place and sat in a booth in the back, trying to keep things private. I guess he thought we could have this serious conversation and still be in full view of everyone. Nope. So we sit down and I start explaining how I felt at the concert, like I was having a panic attack and all. Immediately, he downplays the whole thing. Like, seriously? He goes on about how it was just a mosh pit and how it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I was freaking out and alone for 3 hours. But okay, sure, misunderstanding. He kept interrupting me, saying I was overreacting and how everyone enjoys concerts differently. I was like, yeah, most people don't ditch their girlfriends in a bathroom stall. I pointed out that he didn't seem to care about my concerns, and that's when the whole thing escalated. He suggested we just move on from the concert incident. Move on? I thought we were here to talk this out, not ignore it. So that was a disaster, and honestly, I didn't feel any better after that. Later that week, I got an invitation to my best friend's wedding. I was super excited because I love weddings, and I know my boyfriend is always down for a free meal. But when I brought it up, he didn't seem interested in going at all. He was like, yeah, you can go if you want. Like, what? So the day of the wedding, I got there early to help set up. I was arranging flowers when I overheard 2 guests talking about my boyfriend. They were saying they saw him out with another girl just the night before. My heart dropped. Are you kidding me? I couldn't focus on what I was doing anymore. During the reception, my boyfriend texted me that he couldn't make it, saying he was sick. Bull. I was really upset, but I decided to enjoy the rest of the wedding. After it was all over, I knew I had to confront him about what I heard. He was home when I got there, and I asked him directly about where he was the night before. He hesitated at first, then said he was hanging out with friends at a bar. I pressed him for details, like who was there and what they did, and he became super defensive. I thought to myself, this isn't over. I had to find out the truth. So I checked his social media, which I probably shouldn't have done, but whatever. I found all these pictures of him tagged at a bar with another girl from the night before. And the girl? Yeah, I recognized her. She had come to a few of our gatherings. I was freaking out. That weekend, I invited her over for coffee. I acted all friendly and everything, but inside, I was like ready to explode. During our chat, I casually asked her about her relationship with my boyfriend. She mentioned that she thought he was single and that he had been texting her for weeks. Yeah, she thought he was single. So did I. I came up with this plan to confront him. I arranged a dinner at my place and invited him over. He walked in all smiles, and I was like, hey babe, how was your day? We had dinner, and while we were eating, I casually brought up my new friend from the wedding. He looked at me, confused. Then I pulled out my phone and showed him the pictures of him with her from the night before. His face dropped. He got all defensive, like, how did you get these? I told him I invited her over for coffee, and I dropped the news. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please don't end it. I cut him off. I told him I was done. I reached over and pulled out a small box he had given me. It was the bracelet he got me for Christmas. I told him I had already returned all his gifts. His face was priceless. I could see the realization hit him. I walked him to the door and made sure to remind him not to contact me again. At this point, I can't believe I wasted so much time on him. He clearly has no respect for me or our relationship. I don't even feel bad about how I handled the breakup. I got closure, and honestly, I'm kind of relieved. I'm just over his crap and ready to move on with my life. Mini update. After the breakup, I felt a mix of relief and disbelief. I didn't think I'd ever go through something like that. My friends and family have been super supportive, and I've even started dating someone new. He's really sweet and makes me feel good about myself. I'm excited for what's ahead. Am I the idiot for distancing myself from my friend who's obsessed with our mutual friend? Jennifer, a 25-year-old female, and I, also a 25-year-old female, have been really close friends for over a year. We've been really close with Andrew, a 25-year-old male as well, for around the same time since we all started working together. They both are the nicest people I've met, and we had so much in common that we clicked immediately. We used to hang out more than twice a week until this happened. She told me she liked him about 2 months ago, but apparently she's liked him for a while. She played it off as a little crush and not a big deal, but gradually she's become not only more obvious about it, but also more insecure. I tried encouraging her to tell him, as she's grown more attached to him, and she needs to know how he feels about her before it grows more serious, but she wouldn't listen. She said she needs to work on herself, as she feels he's out of her league. Now I feel like it's not only consuming her, but it's straining my and Andrew's relationship with her. She's told every single mutual friend she has with Andrew, trust it or not. She's becoming more zoned out and completely lost focus in anything she's doing. She's becoming more anxious and insecure. She's grown convinced that he likes me and doesn't like her, which is not true. I know he doesn't view me that way, and neither do I. She keeps comparing how he treats her to how he treats me, and is feeling sad that he wouldn't spend time one-on-one with her while he does with me. She overanalyzes the tiniest details about his behavior to reinforce this idea. For example, if he replies to my messages in the group chat and not hers, or if he talks to me more, etc. No amount of reassurance will get through to her, and I'm worried I'll have to distance myself from Andrew to keep my friendship with Jennifer intact at this point. She has been growing clingy towards him, and I think it's pushing him away, which is making her even more anxious. We rarely hang out as the three of us, and he's been conveniently only free when she's not. He's still visiting me and asking me to meet up, and I feel like I shouldn't feel guilty for meeting a friend, but I do. At the same time, I also feel it's unfair for me to lose a friendship because of her actions. I feel crazy for thinking this, and I have tried to ignore the idea, as I didn't want to believe she's doing this, but she's been almost copying me. At first, it was the sort of messages that I send on our group chat that he would reply to. She would send something similar and would privately ask me why he hasn't replied if he's replied to mine. All of a sudden, she started getting into a few of my hobbies that he's complimented me on before, and they're quite niche. She got the same hairstyle as me, as well as a few other aesthetic things that he complimented about me before. At first, I thought she was trying to get closer to me, but after the aesthetic changes and looking back at other things, it's just rubbing me the wrong way. I have absolutely no interest in Andrew other than friendship, and I know he feels the same way. I tried communicating this with her, but she is still convinced otherwise. We had a few arguments, and she ends up apologizing and acknowledging it's not okay, but it happens again. I feel bad for her as I understand she's going through a dark time and this behavior is unlike her. But it's also recently been making me extremely uncomfortable. Our whole friendship dynamic is very awkward now. I don't want to lose either of them, but it feels like I have to choose. It feels wrong for me to tell her I don't think he's interested. I've been thinking of telling him myself so she can hear it from him, or at least he could avoid causing misunderstandings, but I don't want to betray her trust. She refuses to tell him, as she's convinced if she works on herself, he will like her. But I just doubt it. I'm at a loss. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Do not trust women who center men in their lives. They will throw you under the bus at the first sniff of male approval. She is eventually going to have a meltdown, and you don't want to get trapped in the radius of that. Limit contact as much as possible with her and live your life. Male-identified women are pitiable, but hopefully she will figure herself out in the coming years. Or she won't. Either way, not your problem. You did what you could. Comment 2. I don't think she is the type to center men. I think it's an unfortunate case of her liking someone who she feels is out of her league. Her own words, she is gorgeous and amazing. She doesn't see it and doesn't recognize that people have different tastes. Instead, she is internalizing the situation to her not being good enough. Now, for the update, I'm not even sure where to begin. A few weeks have passed since my last update, and things have just gotten worse. The obvious jealousy that Jennifer has for me around Andrew has gotten to the point where it is just absolutely unbearable. I feel awkward and uncomfortable every time we are together, so much so that I kind of just want to avoid these situations altogether. I can't even believe that I'm actually saying that. Like, I wish I could just be in the same room with my two friends and not feel like I was some kind of threat to their friendship. This is not what I signed up for when I agreed to be friends with these two. So, a few weeks ago, we all went to a local trivia night. Andrew and I were talking about it the week before, and I invited Jennifer to join us because I didn't want her to feel excluded. That's the thing. I always try to include her in things so she doesn't feel like a third wheel, but she just doesn't make it easy. So yeah, she came along and she was just unbearable. The entire time she was making these snide remarks about my trivia answers. Like, why would I know the name of some obscure artist from the 1800s? I don't know. I'm 22 years old and I work in marketing. I'm not some trivia expert. Anyway, I could tell Andrew was uncomfortable with her comments, but he didn't say anything. I swear, sometimes he just sits back and lets her behave like this. He never calls her out or tries to give her a reality check. So after trivia, Jennifer insisted on going home early, saying she didn't feel well. I thought that was super weird, because she was fine the whole time we were there. Andrew texted me later, asking if everything was okay with her, and I just said, yeah, she's fine. I didn't feel like getting into it with him. A week later, I invited them both over for a movie night. I thought it would be nice to just relax and watch a movie, but Jennifer showed up wearing an outfit that was literally identical to what I wore the last time Andrew and I went out. It was just so awkward. She kept leaning into Andrew and whispering to him during the movie. After it was over, she suggested we all go out for ice cream, and Andrew was all for it. I just wanted to go home and crawl into bed. At the ice cream shop, she took a photo of Andrew and posted it on social media, tagging me in it. The caption was something about how she loved spending time with cute couples, and I just felt my stomach drop. It was so obvious that she was trying to make me look like the third wheel, and all of our friends were commenting on the post, saying how cute they were. I just couldn't take it. I told them I had an early morning and left. Andrew texted me the next day, asking if I was okay with everything, and I just brushed it off. I told him I was fine, and to ignore anything that I said in the group chat. A few days later, Jennifer invited me to a small gathering at her place. I was surprised to see Andrew there when I arrived. That was not what I was expecting. Jennifer was just so overly affectionate with him, and I was really uncomfortable. It just felt so forced and fake. During the gathering, she was loudly discussing her crush on Andrew in front of everyone. I just wanted to disappear. Afterward, I confronted her in private, and she just dismissed my concerns. She said it was all in good fun and that I was too uptight. I decided to take a step back from both of them for a few days. I just needed some space to think. While I was out running errands, I bumped into Andrew at the grocery store. We chatted briefly, and he mentioned planning a camping trip with Jennifer. I'd actually heard Jennifer talking about it with a mutual friend a few days before. I learned that Andrew had no idea about her feelings for him until recently. So, the day of the camping trip, Jennifer texted me inviting me to join them last minute. I agreed, hoping to clear the air and mend things. When I arrived, Andrew and Jennifer were already cozying up by the campfire, and the tension was just so obvious. I felt so out of place. During the trip, Jennifer made a big show of needing help with her tent, specifically asking Andrew, and I just wanted to scream. At the end of the trip, Andrew pulled me aside to ask if I was okay with everything. I just said yeah, and he looked kind of relieved. I don't know what else to do. I just feel so caught in the middle of all of this. Edit. I want to clarify that I'm not trying to come between them. I genuinely have no interest in Andrew. Jennifer started getting really aggressive with her attraction to Andrew, which is why I thought she needed a reality check. It's clear that she was really fixated on him, and I didn't want her to think that I was after him or anything. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm just really at a loss for what to do. Am I the idiot for feeling betrayed by my wife's decision to stay with her sister instead of facing our problems together? My wife and I have always had a great relationship with good communication that we were both very proud of. I feel confident to say that there was nothing we couldn't talk about before our daughter was born. We've had our share of hard times together, including health challenges and family members passing away, and we always supported each other. 10 months ago, I gave birth to our daughter. She was very much planned. It's hard not to be, because we are homosexuals. I struggled a lot with conceiving, but luckily after 2 years of in vitro fertilization, we were successful. It was an emotionally stressful journey, and it took a great toll on my body hormonally, but we were over the moon. The pregnancy went surprisingly well, and while the birth took a long time, it also went well. We struggled during the first few months caring for our daughter. Breastfeeding was tough, and my wife was very jealous that I could feed our child while she couldn't. We mixed breastfeeding with bottle feeding, and things started to get better, but then we both began to have problems of our own. My wife was experiencing challenges at work, and that, combined with her hang-ups about gay parenthood, specifically feeling that people don't see her as a mother, led her into a severe depression. For 2 months, she did absolutely nothing except care for our daughter. Not 100%, but 50% as much as we could manage. If she was responsible, everything went great, but she stopped doing anything household-related and would just play mobile games on her phone. Our daughter went through a phase where she could only sleep on me during the day. If I needed anything during those hours, my wife would do nothing. I could ask for water, and she'd say she'd get it, but would do nothing. If I asked again, she'd get upset with me and say I was nagging her. So I stopped asking. I was, and still am, struggling with pretty severe postpartum depression and felt like nothing would ever make me feel happy again and that I was a terrible mother. My wife got therapy and started to improve. I got placed on a waiting list and continued to get worse. My wife started doing more. Eventually, I also got therapy, and my therapist advised me to start taking better care of myself and that it's okay to step back and take a mental break. But during all this, I feel like I've lost my wife, and I don't know how to get her back. At first, I was angry that she left me so alone during those first months, and that I had to comfort her every time our baby cried because she felt that was because of her. As a result, I became less emotionally available. She got angry at that and would be mean to me. Examples of her being mean include not caring when our daughter headbutted my nose and getting upset with me because I asked if it was crooked, claiming I ruined the happy mood, telling me that I'm a bad mom and wife because I sometimes zone out when she's playing with our daughter, mumbling things that I can't hear, then refusing to repeat them, and getting angry that I sometimes don't hear her at all. Getting angry with me when I yell for help while I'm changing our daughter, especially when she's rolled over in such a way that she's smeared a dirty diaper everywhere. Getting angry with me because I have dyscalculia and can't write down numbers when she says them, like 495 instead of 495. She calls me stupid because I can't do it that way. If I complain, she'll say it's because I'm doing certain things wrong. I've tried to swallow my pride and do what she asks. If she wants me to make more decisions, I'll do that. If she wants me not to take any breaks, fine, I'll do that. But it's never enough, and while she says it's wrong for her to be mean, she claims she's stressed. I tell her it hurts me, but she doesn't seem to care. I ask for an apology and she'll say, "Sorry that you feel hurt." That's all I get. I don't know her anymore. I don't know what I can do anymore. I tried to get relationship therapy, but there is a long waiting list, and she doesn't seem interested. I tell her how unhappy I am, and she gets upset with me, claiming I'm just unloading and being mean. She was never like this. How do I get my old wife back? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Yeah, I'd like that. But like I said, my wife is not very receptive and there is a waiting list. I'm searching for someone we can see now, but there just are not enough therapists available. I'll keep looking. Date nights are something we do, and as long as we don't talk about this, it's like before. But when we get home, it's the same again. I'll keep trying for couples counseling, though. Comment 2. Sounds like you both need a break from parenthood and some good old-fashioned therapy. Parenting is tough, especially for first-time parents, and it can take a toll on even the strongest relationship. Hang in there and remember that you are both doing your best. And for anyone else reading this, don't forget to take care of your own mental health as well. Now for the update. It's been about a month since I last posted about the struggles with my wife and our relationship. I wish I could say things got way better in that time, but like I said before, it's been a long road and now it feels like we're just wandering. My wife began to show signs of improvement after a few therapy sessions. She started helping with the baby more, which made days a little easier. Like, she actually changed diapers and fed the baby without grumbling about it. A small victory, I guess. So we agreed to a family dinner at my parents' house to celebrate my mom's birthday. Honestly, I was kind of nervous about it because I didn't want my wife to snap at my dad again, but my mom was so excited. My brother Jake and his wife Rachel were also invited, and they brought their baby. My mom was super happy about all of us being together. The atmosphere felt a little off, though. My wife still seemed distant at times, which made the whole thing feel awkward. Not to mention that everyone could probably tell that we were not at our best. During dinner, my dad brought up the topic of parenting, asking for advice from the new parents. My brother laughed and said he was still figuring it out, which got a chuckle from everyone. Then out of nowhere, my wife snapped at my dad, saying he didn't know anything about modern parenting. That really ended the life of the mood. Everyone fell silent, and I could see my dad's face drop. I think he was just trying to connect with us. I tried to lighten the mood by suggesting we share funny parenting stories. My wife rolled her eyes and said there was nothing funny about it. After dinner, I asked her to step outside for a moment to talk. She refused, saying she needed space and walked away from me. I went back inside feeling frustrated, and my mom asked if we were okay. I told her we were just having a little disagreement, but my mom looked concerned. I know she could see right through my BS. My dad and brother probably could too, but no one said anything. Later that week, my wife mentioned wanting to go out for a date night. I thought, finally, some time alone with her. We went to a local Italian restaurant, and I thought it would help us reconnect. You know, like in the movies where couples have a romantic dinner and everything's magical? Yeah, that didn't happen. During dinner, she received a text that made her visibly upset. She looked at the phone and said it was just work, but I could tell it was more. I asked if everything was all right, and she snapped at me to stop prying. So I backed off, feeling the tension rise again. After dinner, I suggested we take a walk to clear our heads. She agreed, but the walk was filled with silence and awkwardness. You could feel the tension. I noticed she kept checking her phone, which made me uneasy. A few days later, we had a big family gathering for Rachel's baby shower. My wife was on edge, and I could see her getting annoyed with small things. Like, if the baby so much as sneezed, she would give this look that could unalive. At the shower, she confronted Rachel about a parenting tip she shared, which escalated quickly. I stepped in to defuse the situation, but my wife was not having it. She just stormed off, and I was left trying to apologize for her. After the shower, I found her outside on the patio, staring at her phone. I asked about her mood, but she just said she was tired and wanted to go home. On the drive home, she received another text and threw her phone onto the seat in frustration. I asked her what was going on, and she finally admitted she felt overwhelmed. She mentioned thinking about taking a break and going to stay with her sister for a bit. I suggested we both go to therapy together, but she said she wasn't ready for that yet. So, we're at this weird standstill. She finally agreed to a couples therapy session next week, but I could sense hesitation. It's like she's scared to take that next step, and I don't know why. I'm just hoping that when we do go to therapy, we can finally talk about everything. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.